In terms of difficulties or challenges, we have encountered so many, given that the area where we are working is a post-conflict area.
Where you will go and find a civil society, you may not find a government worker there.
Most of the women, they have seen the importance of attending ANC by giving us more time to talk to them, to educate them. It will help the program to grow more.
That sickness finished me for skin. All my 6 pikin were born, then they feel fine. And even the one who I hold for hand, they fine. Even my Mrs. Silvavi, mommy pikin, they fine. Nothing no do me.
I am Njomo Ipus Omamester. I come from a family of 5. My early beginnings when I was a child were not easy because my parents were poor and we lived in the neighborhoods of Douala where you had people who had nothing to eat, living. And this carried me all along throughout my adolescent age. My mother was considered as somebody from a minority community because she came from the English-speaking side of Cameroon. And the French-speaking side always considered the English-speaking as minority. So as I grew up with all this in mind, I determined more than ever not to work for government, but to render service to community. Why? Because I hadn't somebody who could do that to me. I finished my university education while I was already married, and while in the university, I decided that I will make it. I will be among the first, and I was always among the first right up to my graduation. And I also took distant online courses, did distant online MBA, which I got. With all this, I sat and I started wondering and pondering on what is it that is in me that I have not tapped. And while asking all these questions, it occurred to me that I was so much inclined in doing business to helping the poor. By then, we had not set Reach Out. I set up an industry for ice cream, a small local industry for ice cream, but the people I was inviting to become sales boys and girls were children who were from families from poor background, family background. And when I was evaluating this, I said, but why am I always going back to this category of people to help, And it occurred to me that it's because of my background, the place I come from, my early stage of growth reoccurred to me. So I said, it means it is a calling, and I have to put in place something, that will project that calling. And that is how I came up with the vision of creating Reach Out Cameroon. But before creating Reach Out Cameroon, I went around the communities, encouraged some women that we should come up with some groupings. And that is how I got myself involved while I was still in the West region with the early civil society activities that were being carried out. Sensitization was being carried out for people to get involved into not-for-profit business activities in order to help communities improve on their livelihoods. We did that. And when I came back to the Southwest region, which is the base, I gathered women and we decided to form a common initiative group. We started working, and I saw that, okay, I had strengthened those. I had to leave. And the time came for me to leave. I left with the vision, which I still had within me, that we should establish something much stronger than just the small group of a common initiative, which we had started. I invited some medical doctors. I invited gender experts. I invited social workers, I invited community workers who came around one table, and I shared my vision with them. There were very few of them who bought the idea, because most of them asked me that how much are they going to get in return. And I told them that the vision was not for us to make profit out of it, but it was for us to help communities. And this was strengthened the more when I started going towards the Indian division. I discovered that there was a problem of inaccessibility and information. Women mostly, and youth particularly, could not access information, and that for them to go to the centers, to the health centers, health facilities, it was a hurdle. And so I said, but I asked the question that on which road do they apply to go to the market, to get to health facilities? With what means do they go to these areas? And we started asking, and that is how Richard became something concrete, because we said that we should go and support these people so that their livelihoods is improved. And that is how we came with the mission to support underprivileged groups within communities on health issues, wealth creation, capacity building using a community-centered approach, and advocacy. This has gained ground, it materialized, and we got ourselves involved in these 3 core areas which you just heard, which are health, wealth creation, gender, and capacity building. These have become the core pillars of Reach Out ever since 1996, that we started this idea in a small way. As the years passed by, this idea became something big, and we said, okay, now that we have tested ourselves for 4 years, 1996 to 2000, and we've discovered that there is need, the demand is high, and that we could bring our little know-how to help bring smiles on people's face, to make people who lost hope regain the hope. We said, okay, let us have this idea legalized. And that is how Richard obtained its legal status in the year 2000. And we started addressing women's issue, talking about gender, capacity building, training women, facilitating the processes of common initiative groups formation and legalization, which we started doing, giving it the basic know-how on areas of interest which were identified. And then we resolved that all what we do should be need-based and demand-driven, which means that people should express the need to see us coming to them. And they should, because they have a problem, and we must go to establish that exactly there is a problem. So while doing this, there is something new which came to our communities which people did not know. That was the issue of HIV. We started hearing about HIV, but before hearing about HIV, people were dying. People were dying, and people attributed that to witchcraft. People attributed that to witchcraft. We saw women being molested by their in-laws, by their husbands, being abandoned. We saw homes that were dislocated. We saw people that were killed in the name of witchcraft within their communities because nobody knew what was happening. So we had to go back to the organization and convince the board that there is need for us to integrate HIV activities in our annual plans. This was accepted, and we started training, putting in place local AIDS control committees within communities in the Southwest region. It was not only here in Boya, where we are headquartered, but we went to all the 6 divisions of the Southwest region, putting in place local AIDS control committees. And while doing that, in the course of putting in place local AIDS control committee, another problem came up, which was that of people who were already identified as living with the virus, but who were stigmatized, discriminated upon, isolated, within their communities. we said, okay, this is another problem which needs to be addressed. And these people were dying. They were not going for treatment, not treatment. They did not know if there was a treatment center. So when we found out that there was a treatment center in Limbe, we said, what can we do to contain HIV? Because the people who are in the hard to reach areas where we have been, these people are dying. They cannot access the facility so easily because of lack of means, because of the remoteness of the areas. So we said, okay, let us address this issue. This is another issue. When we brought it up, we were asked if we have resources within us. And I said, yes, I have been trained. I will train all the rest on improve home-based care and psychosocial support to people living with HIV. We integrated this new component into our annual plan, and we did improve home-based care and psychosocial assistance to people living with HIV/AIDS in all the 6 divisions of this region as a pilot project with support from the then Provincial Technical Group of the Ministry of Health through the National AIDS Control Committee, who decided to fund the project which was submitted to them by my office. And after this, while we were doing this, another problem came up, that of we decided to come up with a community component, which is community leaders working for women and children to bridge the gap of PMTCT in Dian division. And we know Dian division is vast. It has 9 council areas. And we could only address the issue for at least 3 council areas, 2 health districts for the moment. That is Bamuso, Kombo Abedimo, which is known as Aqua, then Isangele. So we took this, we wrote the proposal, which was positive. We got the funds, and we started working in that area. And we could say that we had male involvement, we have communities involvement. The leadership of the community, of the municipality was involved, like the mayor. We have the district medical officer who did not relent his effort to support us, because he told us that if the project fails, then he has failed, because he has not been having this. And we are coming to help them realize what they are supposed to do, which shows that, following what he said, it only shows that civil society is here to help government. And you people have come to help us. And the traditional leadership was for us. The churches, the church leadership in the area, pastors were for us. And they decided to be trained, most of them under when the education component of PMTCT, and they became community educators. And to tell you the truth, that is how we came about that project. I will not say that the project has succeeded without challenges. There are many challenges, as I will tell you in the next moments that follow.
Bakassi is a highly enclaved mainland and maritime area in the Dian Division, southwest region of Cameroon. Coupled with its post-conflict nature, Bakassi and its inhabitants are still vulnerable in many aspects, particularly in the health sector. It is in this light that, despite the state and condition of these people, the non-governmental organization Out Cameroon went ahead to penetrate the creeks of this maritime area to fish out the afflicted and put smiles on their faces. With the assistance of trained community leaders and other partners, Out Cameroon works to tackle the low rate of antenatal care ANC, the prevention of mother-to-child transmission of HIV/AIDS (PMTCT), male partner involvement in PMTCT, reducing maternal and infant morbidity and mortality rate, and also reducing the stigmatization and discrimination against persons living with HIV/AIDS in the Bakassi zone. This, of course, through community mobilization and sensitization.
Civil society, they are doing their best in that Bakassi area. And to be frank with you, it's difficult for a personnel, if you want to send a government personnel, even though they used to say that no, our goal is to serve the entire population of Cameroon and so on and so forth. But when you send the personnel there, at times most of them they don't go. But the civil society organization, they are there.
Given the notion that most African PMTCT programs are focused in urban areas, considering the fact that following the last Sentinel survey among pregnant women in 2009, the Southwest region stood with 11.9%, coupled with the preoccupying high HIV prevalence in the region, and especially among pregnant women, particularly in the Dian division, Out Cameroon aims at contributing in improving access to PMTCT services by scaling up to 80% community awareness and increasing from 14 to 60% the number of pregnant women tested for HIV. This through the use of key community leaders to champion education and sensitization campaigns of their rural communities.
I do a home visit in some of those pregnant women, and sometimes some of them I even pay them transport to come to the health center. And sometimes we do a community work by involving some TBA to work with us. And what we do sometimes, we do free tests that they are happy to gain from the health center.
We have been trained to carry out this project of PMTCT to encourage people to go to the hospital, especially when their wives are pregnant, and for them to know their status, so much so that they will be covenant with the hospital, and the women will know their status, the men will know their own status, and by so doing, it will help to limit this problem of HIV and PMTCT.
Since I was trained by the Reach Out Cameroon PMTCT program, I've been going out for health talks. I've been going from one place to another to educate the women, to tell them the importance of coming to the health center. For example, in our area, there are some women that have never heard of ANC or PMTCT. So through this health talk, it has helped a lot to improve the mentality of our people in our area. It has helped the women so much, and it has improved the standard of our clinic. We were not having much women that were coming for ANC, but since after this program, our clinic is full of women because we have educated them a lot.
With this goal in mind, the non-governmental organization Reach Out Cameroon have gotten several women in the Bakassi Peninsula attend their ANC, get tested to know their status, while infected mothers are followed up with the PMTCT program.
Since me I carry belle, now 4 months belle this. Then now so today me I hear about hospital. Then I go today for grenade. So I go check my belle. Then HIV complaint in a come out negative that me I no get. Then from today, if you dey with belle, any place you dey, it's fine you to go hospital so that you go check your pikin whether they fine. So that the time you want born, you born fine.
So man young bram madam me young akechi abuka mi meni so young anyong an no many ba young that to get me man na you know to make a check take you know.
She says that when she was pregnant she went down to the clinic, and after being tested they confirmed that she was positive. So as the nurse of the hospital talked with her and encouraged her to continue attending clinic. So as she was continuing attending clinic until the time of delivery, she discovered that the baby was fine after she delivered, and the baby was tested to be negative without HIV.
As I get the HIV sickness, I can't come for hospital. So nurse then begin to explain me for now come for hospital. As I come for hospital, begin they come. They test me. As they test me now, they see the sick. Nurse begin to pursue am. So the sickness, that sickness finish me for skin. All my 6 pikin were born. Then they feel fine. And even the one who I hold for hand, they fine. Even my Mrs. Wabi, mommy pikin, they fine. Nothing no do me.
When I discovered that I was pregnant and went to the hospital, say the nurse of the hospital tested me. And it was discovered that I was HIV positive. After being advised by the nurse and as I began taking the drugs, so I was taking the drugs as I was instructed by the nurse. when it finished, I will go back to the hospital and pick another one. So as I took the drug until the time of my delivering, as I have delivered my child, is okay, and I'm breastfeeding my child with no problem.
You know, so because when we do vaccine, you don't put in the first vaccine, you give them the
Another aspect to be held in the exercise is the indiscriminate manner through which the organization effectuates its goal, though focus is on women and AIDS-infected persons in hard-to-reach areas of Cameroon. Citizens of foreign nationality living in the Bakassi Peninsula were not left out in this life-saving campaign.
I go hospital since for the first month. My first picking, I go hospital since for the first month. I deliver safely. Nurses to they hold me fine. They care for me. So they reached, I will be there 1 week. So they reach time where they go me back. They carry me to the one way they love me. They carry me to go drop am for house. So the one at the number second one to this.
I will go clinic. So even me say I no be no. As I go clinic, now one nurse test me. Now we tell me say me I get that. They give me medicine every month. Me too I get hope say my pikin go be safe. Say no nothing no go do it.
The realization of this project would have been much more easier but for the numerous barriers encountered in executing the campaign, top of which is the transport infrastructure. Most of the women here live around the creeks and are unable to go for antenatal care or even be delivered of their babies in hospital due to the lack of speedboats, which is the main means of transportation. This goes a long way to hinder the movement from the interior to mainland where the healthcare facilities are found. And even on mainland, the lack of vehicles and motorbikes also slow down the campaign.
The area where we are working is a post-conflict area. It is both mainland and maritime. It is a peninsula, and accessibility to that area is so difficult. At times we take the boats to ply the high sea, which is too risky for our lives, and then to changing mentalities, changing behaviors that have existed in the past, whereby pregnant women, go to traditional bed attendants to deliver, is another one big challenge that we face in the course of this project. Going to the health centers which are available in the area, when you look at them, you go inside, you see that they are poorly equipped, and we are here to educate and motivate women to make use of these structures. So how can they make use of these structures when they are poorly equipped?
The main problem is that of transporting themselves when they find themselves in difficult situations. So if I may say anything or make any recommendation, it will be one that funding partners to try to help us with boats, because most of our population are in the fishing settlements in the creeks. So they need boats to come right to Isangele, the mainland. According to everybody there, everybody knows that the Isangele town is the mainland, and that is where you can actually come and have any good health treatment.
Major issue that will arise in our current localities is the issue of inaccessibility. Most of the women who have been taught on the importance of going to ANC find it difficult to come to the health center because they might not have the appropriate means of movement, which is by boat transportation.
The road infrastructure is not the only hindrance to attaining an AIDS-free Bakassi Peninsula. Given the post-conflict nature of the zone, insecurity still reigns at high range. The fear of being kidnapped, or worse still, being attacked by pirates, scare people in this area, thereby having a negative impact on the success of the campaign.
Talking of a post-conflict area, everybody in this country knows that Bakassi is an area where you have pirate attacks, kidnappings all the time. So for us to go many times, we need to seek the support from the military, which is called the BIR, to accompany us in the field to see that these women, these communities are not left on their own.
And considering the fact that we are working in post-conflict zone, the insecurity is still high. There are areas that they could not go because of the level of insecurity. So it was very challenging for us to work in this area within the framework of this project.
Others also would fear insecurity in the area, and as such would lag behind and rather prefer to give birth to their children in churches and in the communities.
The old habit of being delivered by tradi practitioners still have an impact in the Bakassi Peninsula. Some of the women in this area who still go for the old practice end up not being tested to know their status. This, of course, slows the attainment of the PMTCT goal. Religious denominations in this area also play a vital role, as given that Bakassi has a blend of Nigerians and Cameroonians of different religious backgrounds who prefer deliverance in churches or will only go to the healthcare center upon the pastor's approval. As the PMTCT exercise alongside other projects of Reach Out Cameroon roll on in the Bakassi area, the reluctance of the male folk in this region to get tested and know their status is still a bone of contention. A majority of the men here shy away, making tedious the task of preventing mother-to-child transmission of HIV/AIDS and boosting the antiretroviral therapy for infected cases.
I so much appreciated this reach out. When I was called to attend this at Ilwani, I learned a lot, and I've been passing it out to the church, most especially to the pregnant women, teaching them how important it is. I discovered that so many of them did not know their status, and through the lesson, most of them have been telling me that they have been going. Even like today, I've seen 2 of them amongst the women there who came to taste, and by this lesson, they have known the importance of going to hospitals, to health centers, to clinics, to know more about themselves.
During the rainy season also, high tides prevent people, particularly pregnant women, from sailing through the waters to healthcare centers on mainland.
Working in this project, we had a lot of challenges, because considering the terrain that we were dealing with, it was difficult for us to access, to go to the area to supervise them because of the river, the nature of the road. At times the roads are bad, we cannot go through. Using water is very tough during the rainy season, we cannot even go there. And likewise, the community leaders, they cannot go to some localities to get to talk to the communities. They cannot pass the information because at times when the river is high, when the water level is high, they cannot go there.
Though several hurdles plague the campaign, Reach Out Cameroon, through its activities, have gained the trust and confidence of the community, as well assisting partners like the Ministry of Public Health and its main donor, the Positive Action for Children's Fund, among others.
You, like a stranger living maybe Yaoundé or living Boya, to go down to Bakassi, you will not know how many children are here in this house, except somebody who is from the community tells you. And it's thanks to the civil society. So actually, it's thanks to the civil society. So with me, if I have a recommendation or a proposal, is that we should see, the government should see how to even strengthen them. Because they have the willingness to work, but actually some of them don't have the money in order to see how to carry on certain things. But when we look at them to evaluate them, even in our publicities, when we want to carry on certain campaigns at level of regional delegation of public health, we work with them.
Reach Out Cameroon prospects an increase from 29% to 80% PMTCT services, uphold community mobilization and education, encourage male partner involvement, as well as reduce by 60% new HIV-exposed infants by the end of 2 years in the Bakassi zone.